Hi Violas, Miss Ferrato here. Today we're going to be doing a practice track on A Beethoven Lullaby, which is an air on Ode to Joy by Brian Balmages. This piece is very pretty. I think the most difficult thing for you to remember in this particular piece is to make sure that you are doing the dynamics, and in order to do the dynamics correctly, you have to make sure not only are you holding your bow correctly, but you're also playing in the correct part of the bow. So for an example, when you first come in measure 3, you're not going to start at the frog. You need to start somewhere here because you have the piano and you're going to build to a mezzo piano and then come back down. So you kind of have to map out where your bow is going to be throughout this entire piece. There are two different things in this particular piece I want to talk about with you. The first one is when you have double stops in measure 25. It doesn't say divisi or non-divisi. It's not marked in your music. I think it would depend on your conductor on what kind of sound they wanted. In this particular recording, I am going to play it with a double stop, only because that way you can kind of hear what both parts would sound like. But don't be surprised if your conductor says, no, I want it to be divisi, inside-outside players. That's very possible. I can see myself as a conductor having my students play that divisi, only because sometimes I would want a cleaner sound, but I think it also just kind of depends. So don't be surprised if another teacher tells you to divide that. Another thing is at the very end, second to last measure, measure 41, you have a dotted quarter note, a single A thrust, and then a half note. Make sure you're counting eighth notes in that part. So you want to count 1, 2, and 3, 4, so that you can clearly hear a rest and then the half note. It just all comes down to counting. In this piece, you have a lot of minor tempo fluctuations. So like for a really fantastic example is in measure 4, up at the top, you have poco retard, so slow down a little bit. And then in measure 5, it's an a tempo, meaning go back to the original tempo. You really need a conductor for that. And because there's not particular speeds that are posted, it really depends on what your conductor would like you to do. I'm just gonna play it as it is with a metronome. I'm not going to slow down and then go to the normal tempo. I'm not going to do any of that with this particular piece. It would be kind of confusing to do that with a metronome, and really it's what your conductor wants. I am going to be going 80 beats per minute, just like Brian Balmages suggests. If you do not have a metronome at home, go into Google, type in online metronome, and adjust the slidey bar to 80. Hit play, you have a metronome. Yeah. Oh, it's not done yet. I hope this helps you, violas. Ready? We're counting rests. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. does. I hope this helped. I'm sorry it's raining and if that was bothersome. I literally cannot control the weather. All right, thanks. Bye.